So Adapt opens up its e-learning courses in a main menu system like this. If we go into it, we can see that Asbestos Awareness, the first section, is open for us to enter. None of the others are. That's something we can control. We do to manage how a learner goes through the system. There's a course logo in the header. There's a resources section and exit, which I'll talk about later. If we dive into Asbestos Awareness, just in general for this video, I will be speed running through it. I won't be reading every single piece of content because obviously that will make the video incredibly long. But if at any time you're interested, by all means pause the video and read in more depth. So I'm talking about how Stoke-on-Trent has a history of industry which led to lung problems, and obviously it's known as the potteries. We start all our e-learning with a consistent, this is how it works, narrative structure. So as we work through that, we'll talk about how long the learning will take. We've not piloted this course yet, so we don't know. Obviously, different people work at different rates, so we'd like to get an idea. And you'll notice that I can't move further than this narrative structure at the moment. And as I work through it, we'll talk about the progress bar that's in the top there and the resources section that I've talked about. So if we go into that, we can link to PDFs, spreadsheets, web links, other documents that support the learning so that learners can go to that and have assets. And as we go to the final pane about exiting, then we can continue because the trickle function that I mentioned in the report has opened up, and we can move to the next section, which is the introduction. So in the introduction, we're going to talk about the learning objectives. It's very important in our learning that we say at the end of this e-learning, a learner will have learnt A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, whatever it might be, so that we can understand that it has been useful. We've achieved something. So they will remember what asbestos is, how it affects their health, some locations, how it's managed, and finally how to apply that knowledge. We've done that so that we can continue to the next section. So one thing that struck me was that we could have several people working on the tools as plumbers, fitters, janitors, who were born after asbestos was banned. Now, they may also have colleagues who were working away during the 70s when asbestos was extremely freely used. So I don't think we can have any assumptions about people understanding what asbestos is. So this is an opportunity to ask some questions, get them interested if they don't know what asbestos is at all, or just find a sort of ground line state for them all. So asbestos is a man-made material, true or false? Some people might not realize that it is in fact it's a naturally occurring silicate mineral. And if we were to get something wrong there, we've only recently discovered asbestos is harmful to health. True. No, it's not true. Concerns were raised in 1898, but we can continue. We're not going to be penalised. This is about setting the scene and finding out where we are. So it doesn't matter if they get it wrong. Asbestos is present in a large number of buildings, but properly managed, it won't endanger people. Is there a safe level of exposure to asbestos fibres? No, there is no safe level of exposure. So obviously, and we can continue there, with saying that you might find this rather scary, but some of the purpose of this learning is to say that yes, asbestos is dangerous. We do know about the danger, but if we work well and sensibly, we can protect ourselves and other people. And we see that our progress is fully filled in. If we go to the main menu, we could move to the next section, what is asbestos there, or we could review other things, but we can't go to sections that haven't yet been opened up for us. So let's visit what is asbestos. What is asbestos? Asbestos is a term used to describe a family of naturally occurring silicate minerals that are fibrous. And we go on through some more examples. Wherever possible, for budgetary reasons, I've been using Creative Commons sourced images and crediting them where appropriate with a Creative Commons license. Asbestos is found naturally in rock deposits. There are different types of asbestos: chrysotile, amosite, crocodolite, and 3 other types that we move over quite quickly. They could be friable, that is, they can be broken apart easily, or non-friable. They are locked into a compound, quite a bit safer. We can see that progress bar has been moving as we work through the course, and asbestos used to be absolutely everywhere. Some examples here I've sourced. So a quiz here to test the knowledge that we've learnt so far. And again, if we get an answer wrong, it's going to give us some feedback, give us the right answer and explain why. Likewise, if we get the answer right, we're reassured, we get some reminders, that recap. We're not going to be penalised at this point. It's about the learning, the repetition, building on that, and that takes us through to the next section, asbestos and health. Primary route of asbestos exposure is inhalation. It is crazy tiny, the fibres of asbestos, talking about things that are 20 millionths of a metre across. Health outcomes involved. There was an opportunity here to use some fairly graphic images of health outcomes that involve mostly lung cancer. I made a decision not to do that because this is being rolled out to a very large number of people, and I just made a personal decision that I think that could be quite triggering for some people. So talking about asbestosis using a close-up image there, which I think is not quite as visceral. Likewise for lung cancer. Again, we've got more information here that can be linked through, and these links pop into a new window. They don't take you out of the learning as we progress. And mesothelioma there. Continuing onwards, talking about the contributing factors being exposure, a rather upsetting story there about a woman who died because of asbestosis that happened from her father's work, and cigarette smoking, which increases your risk. And again, after this health section, we're going to recap that knowledge and reinforce it with some questions. What is the most common cause of death? Well, I think I said there that is lung cancer. That's right. And smokers have a much higher chance of contracting an asbestos-related disease. True or false? Is it false? No, it's incorrect. Cigarette smoking multiplies the risk. And then we've got a really great video here from the Health and Safety Executive, which is very strong. I've got no problem at all embedding other people's third-party work. You know, why, if someone's done it well and it's very apt, we don't have the budget to remake stuff just for the sake of it. And the Health and Safety Executive material I've drawn on throughout this course. This video is very strong. We won't watch all of it. I'll probably speed through it in the video, but we will need to watch all of it as our learner works through the material. And once that video is finished, we're opened up to go to the next section, asbestos location. Asbestos location opens up with an image put together there of some photographs I took on the Spode site. That's a council run set of buildings in Stoke, where the building manager, Liam, has to deal with asbestos in various places. Some examples there of where they've dealt with it, encapsulating it in the fabric. I took some assets from HSE, which luckily, again, because we don't have a very large budget, so we have to take what we can, were extremely high res, and managed to extract some parts of it to build this hot graphic, which I'm very pleased with. So we can click on an area of this industrial building and find out some more information about types of asbestos we may find in that location. So asbestos texture coating, some information about it, links to HSE task sheets and other HSE information there. Spray coating, some information about that. Cement products, very common. AIB, asbestos insulation board, again, specific task sheets about that. Loose fill asbestos, extremely dangerous, do not touch. Thermal insulation, there'll be a lot of that in the potteries, a lot of boilers in potteries. Many of them cleared out now, but there's still some examples around. And floor tiles, gaskets, textiles and composites. We've finished that hot graphic section, so we're allowed to continue to the next section, which is more domestic locations. And again, some very high quality assets from the HSE which we've used here. Different ways of working to ease the cognitive load and help workers in different in different styles, those who are very visual versus those who have words. So how would you know about the presence of asbestos in your workplace? We've got what's called an accordion here. Check the year of building, check the date of refurbishments, talk to people, inspect the workplace, and then some more about the responsibilities. Information about the asbestos register, the key components in there. Then I've added a note here because I think this video is extremely good, but it is a little bit long, and I'm not sure if this is too much information for our general audience, so I've put in a question there for our SME to answer. And some information there on further support with, again, more links to the health and safety executive who have very important work to do. So a recap of this section where we might think about what sort of materials might we find in flooring. So I'm going to say vinyl tiles, and a heating system might be pipe insulation, which leaves only one thing left. Hey, that's good. I don't think wooden floorboards contain asbestos. I don't think glass window panes do. Boards around storage heaters might. There we go. Which allows us to continue to asbestos aware. And by now, hopefully, our learners are asbestos aware. Well done on making it this far. By now you should be familiar with asbestos, what it is, where it comes from, where you might encounter it, and whether it presents any problems. So we're talking to them about the quiz. Think carefully, you will need to achieve 80%, so let's see what happens if they don't achieve that. Asbestos is most dangerous when it's non-friable and contained. Breathing in asbestos fibers could result in your health being affected within 5 to 10 minutes. No, so I think I've got enough wrong there. I can just accidentally get a couple right. Question 6. You scored 2, you've not scored enough. Please click retry. So retry assessment. Now at this stage, the learner could navigate back to that main menu and decide just to remind themselves to recap about various areas. Or they could think, oh no, I can do it. Let's see if we can pass this quiz. Asbestos is most dangerous when it's non-friable. That's false. Breathing asbestos fibres in 15 to 60 years. All fibrous materials will contain asbestos. That's not true. What is the primary route for exposure? Inhalation. An untrained worker could transfer asbestos fibres on their clothing into the environment, endangering themselves and others. That is true. And with this pass rate, we could actually get one of those wrong and still score enough to pass the quiz. So that opens us up to the end of the course. A reminder about those resources that we have available to us. A reminder to check the progress bars on the main menu page to see that you've completed. I don't think there'll be a problem with that, but with some complicated courses, students can not quite interact with everything. And then just to exit via the exit icon, just to ensure that the LMS logs their progress and make sure that their certification is completed for the course.